Hello and welcome back to Live Laugh Lily Kincade with your host, Lily Kincade. We are back, baby, with season 3. It has been what feels like forever since I last got to talk to y'all on here. And, I was in album land, which is actually the topic of today's podcast episode. But I cannot believe my debut album is out. I feel like it has been such a journey, and y'all have truly been with me. I've been listening to some of the old Live Laugh Lily Kincade podcast episodes, listening to myself for advice, and it's just crazy to see how far we've come. And I just can't believe the album is out, but I'm happy that I'm back. I miss doing these, so welcome. If you're just listening to this episode, you should definitely go back and binge watch season 1, season 2. You can also get my book. It's amazing. It expands on all of the topics addressed in season 1 in detail with lots of stories written by me. I'll put it all in the description, but I'm so excited to get into this episode. We start every episode off with a little quote kind of tying in to the theme of the episode. So the quote for today's episode is lyrics from my own song. But today I'm going to be sharing 10 things I learned from releasing my debut album. And my goal for this episode is I hope that you can take this advice and you can take these things I've learned and apply it to whatever new projects you're doing, whether that be you're also a musician and you're releasing an album, or maybe, you're applying to colleges, or you are moving to a new city, you're starting a new job, you're starting a new business. I want my life to just hopefully inspire you. And I always say, you know what, I feel like your big sister. We're going through life together. We're doing things together. And so we're just here to encourage each other and inspire each other. And okay, let's get into it. I'm getting back into the flow of being a podcaster. I love it. Okay, so I want to share the lyrics to my opening song on my album. My album's called Cinematic, if you didn't know. If you didn't know, you should definitely go stream Cinematic. But the opening track is called Behind the Scenes, and it's very much an invitation to the listener. And it's me being very vulnerable and being like, hey, if I share all this, are you going to leave? And I think there's just something really beautiful about it. And one of the biggest things I learned, and kind of the overarching theme, is the more vulnerable you are, the better, because we all relate to that. Music is a mirror, and if you put yourself into your art, if you put yourself into your projects, if you put yourself into everything that you do and let your uniqueness shine, that's when people are going to relate to it, because we all have unique parts of ourselves. And then that way you're completely original. And, I don't know, but I wanted to read these lyrics. Okay. This is the opening lyrics of Behind the Scenes. If I lay my cards on the table, tell you how I'm feeling, baby, would that make you run? If I pulled back the curtain, would you leave me hurting just like all the other ones? 'Cause getting vulnerable, I get emotional, don't want to ruin the show. If I pull back the curtain, baby, should I let you see behind the scenes? I love that. You should definitely go stream Behind the Scenes. You're going to love it. You're going to be obsessed. But I just wanted to kind of share this process. So for those of you who have been following my music since my first release, Sweet and Low, back in 2020, y'all have been here and you have seen the journey. I always say there's so much more that goes into things, but, I believe that God's timing is better than our own. And ultimately, you just have to see the world that way. You have to see the world as, you know what, everything is going to be working together for good. Everything is going to be even better than I imagined it. One of my favorite Bible verses is something I remind myself a lot to remember this, and I actually have it right next to my piano behind you guys, and it's Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3:20. I love that, because anytime I get my hopes are up and something doesn't work out, or that thing falls through, or that opportunity didn't happen, it can be very difficult, and I have to just close my eyes and remember, you know what, it's going to be even better. So I hope that reminds you that it's going to be even better. Anyways, getting into it, 10 things I learned from releasing my debut album, Cinematic, in no particular order. These are just some things I've been brainstorming, but I definitely wanted to share them with you guys. Number 1, there's no right way to make an album. There's just your way to make an album. There's no, oh my gosh, it's finally perfect. With creativity, especially music, that is completely subjective. That's amazing, but it's also really scary, because you have all these infinite possibilities. But, you have to listen to your gut. You have to trust yourself and tune out all of the outside voices, tune out all of the outside noise, because at the end of the day, this is your story and your art. And so you just need to put yourself into it and realize that there's no right way. Like, you're never going to feel like it's good enough all the time, but you just have to feel that it's yours. And so don't let the fear of not knowing how to do things stop you, because in reality, that's probably just fear, but just do it afraid anyways. Make the album, give yourself a deadline, because there's no right way, you know? Okay, number 2, you cannot rush art. You have to let it unfold, but you still need to be intentional with it, if that makes sense. Because for me, you know, I've been writing my debut album for a couple years, writing a bunch of songs, and I knew I was like, oh yeah, I'm writing for my album, but I really got intentional at the end of summer last year. Kyle and I, my main producer, we got in the studio and we were like, let's map it out. Let's listen to the demos. Let's pick the release plan. What singles are we going to release before? Because the truth is, you know, yes, art is natural and you have to give it space, but you have to create space for it to grow. I'm currently reworking through The Artist Way, which is an amazing book to, you know, bring alive and revamp your creativity. I did it's a 3-month, like kind of every single day you answer questions and journal, and there's like activities that you do. I did it at the end of summer 2022. And so I was like, you know what? After releasing this creative project, I'm feeling the need to I need to revamp, re-inspire my creativity. But, you know, The Artist Way talks about that too, where it's saying you have to give your artist space to play. And so you can't rush it, but you do need to be intentional in setting space. So when you're making an album or you're working on a project, give yourself the space. Like, okay, for this whole week, I'm just going to edit the demos that I have. For this whole week, I'm going to design cover art. And I think that is a good tip, good reminder. Okay, number 3, you have to let go of perfection if you want to make something real. You know, if your voice cracks when you're singing an emotional part of a song, that's a beautiful thing. And sometimes you don't want it to sound too perfect. As I was recording and, you know, shooting stuff for my album, there's a lot of times where I was like, oh, I don't like the way that sounds. It sounds too I sound too sad. I sound too broken. But then I had to take a step back and be like, no, that's actually beautiful. That's authentic. You know, we're humans. We're not AI. We're not robots. We are going to be imperfect. And in the imperfections, that's actually where, I don't know, I feel like we shine the most, because it makes us exactly who we are. So let go of perfection, embrace the insecurities, embrace what's real, embrace, you know, the flaws, embrace the quirkiness. Okay, number 4. The hardest part about writing songs is not necessarily writing them, but it's mainly knowing when they're done. Because, you know, you could keep adding instruments, you can keep adding things, you can keep adding harmonies. And it's a really tough decision to be like, okay, no, it's done. But I would just encourage anybody that's a creative, overcreate, and then you can edit. I always say it's better to have more options and you can edit down versus not enough and you're stuck picking something or stuck releasing a song that you don't really love. I always am in the mindset of okay, let's just do a bunch of things and then mute everything and slowly add things in and kind of see. And so Kyle and I did that on a lot of the songs on my album. We would, make a bunch of harmonies and then we would go back and select, these 2 sound really good. Or maybe for the first chorus, let's only have 1. And then for the second chorus, let's have 2. And then the final chorus, let's add 3 or 4, And so it's always better to have a bunch and then work backwards and give yourself a deadline. Okay, number 5. Okay, halfway through already. Crazy. Releasing my first album taught me to stop waiting for approval. For the longest time, I would be like, you know what? I just need to write one more good song and then I'll be good enough to make an album. Or I just need to find the right manager and then I'll be good enough to make an album. I just need to get signed to a label deal and then I'll be good enough to make an album. And the truth is, you know what? Why am I waiting on that? Why am I waiting for permission? That's just me because I was scared. I was just scared. And I had to realize, you know what? The only person's approval that I care about and the only person's approval that I need is God's. And God kept saying, Lily, nothing's going to happen until you take action. Faith without works is dead. If you have faith in the vision, I would ask God constantly. I would pray. I'd be like, God, show me the vision for what's going on in my life. Where do you want me to go? He would show me the same vision over and over again. And one day, maybe I'll share that vision, but so clear. And he showed it to me about a month ago too, in a really crazy way, a very vivid way that I've never felt that vivid before. But he was like, wake up, this is your vision. And if you have that gut instinct, that Holy Spirit instinct inside of you of something you're meant to be doing, it's not just going to fall onto your lap. You have to take the action and doors are going to be opened. So, don't wait on anybody. And that was something I really learned. For example, I did a ton of press. I got to do some amazing podcasts, which are all on my social medias and on my website. You should definitely go check them out. I did so many interviews. I got to do radio shows. You guys, I was on the radio, all these amazing things. And For the longest time, I remember being like, oh, I hope I can have a team. I hope I can have these people doing it. All of the press, everything you saw was just through me and reaching out to people, sending emails, finding people on Instagram, podcasts I listen to, being like, hey, I'm an independent artist getting ready to release my album. I would love to chat. Like, you seem really cool. I did that all myself. You don't have to wait for somebody. You can take action today. Period. That was a good one. Okay, number 6. The songs I was the most scared of releasing / the ones I was like, oh my God, this is so vulnerable, were actually the ones that y'all seem to connect with the most. I have so many DMs saying Crime Scene with No Evidence is my favorite song of yours on the record right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because that song is like the most vulnerable. One, it's one of the songs I wrote completely alone, so it's extra personal. And also, two, it's just a very emotional song and it's very vulnerable and it's, but I just think that is so cool. And I just learned, like, I knew that in my head that, the more vulnerable you are, the more people are going to connect with it. But it really was a great reminder that, other people out there feel the same as you. And so don't ever be afraid or ashamed about a song or releasing it, because you know what? It's not for you. I always remind myself, like, once I write a song, once I put it out there, it's like, if it helps one other person, it's not for me. It's either like, I don't know. So don't let the fear of looking silly or the fear of being ashamed or fear of being embarrassed or feeling stupid hold you back from putting your art out there into the world. And, it's just the cherry on top that it ends up being the one that people connect with the most, Okay, number 7. Being independent doesn't mean that you should do everything alone and are doing everything alone. It just means that you have control. You're basically the CEO. So I'm the CEO of Lily Kincade's music, But I would definitely say that being an independent artist, it's definitely not for the weak, in a sense of, like, you have to have the vision, but then you also have to have the ability to execute it, which means, you don't just have a manager or label where you can say, I want to find a designer and they have contacts. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to go look on Instagram. I'm going to go look on Etsy. I'm going to go look on, all of the places. I'm going to go look on TikTok. I'm going to go look on different places. And, like, you have to find it yourself. So I realized that, like, I love collaborating with people. And, I always say, focus on your strengths and get really good at those so you can collaborate with other people who have different strengths. And then you can come together and create stuff together that's really good. But definitely, like, work on your strengths, but also to be open to collaboration. I know it's scary as an independent artist. It's scary because, sometimes you feel like, well, what if they don't want to work with me? I'm too small. You might as well ask, okay? If you don't ask, the answer is no. I've done a podcast episode on that in the past too. So good. You should go listen. But yeah. Okay, number 8. Releasing the music is, I would say, the, like, fun, cathartic part. And then the real work comes when you are marketing it and promoting it. I don't know why marketing feels such like it feels like a bad word, but no, I always say, like, release music you love so that way you would talk about it and you're proud. I genuinely love this album. I've been listening to it like every day almost. And I'm so proud of this album. This whole body of work to me represents just a beautiful time in my life, and it's cohesive. Everything is exactly as I want it to be, and I'm proud of it. Y'all know I am my own number 1 fan, because you have to be. If you don't believe in your music, who else is going to believe in it? Period. And something that really helps is making sure you are putting out things that you love. I love my album, so me talking about it, me telling strangers that I meet, me telling people at restaurants that I meet to listen to it. I literally was at a baby shower the other night and somebody came in and was talking about their daughter and, like, the music she likes, and I was like, oh, I bet she would love my album. Like, you guys probably would too, the whole family would. And so I got them to be Kincadians and they're listening to my music. So release stuff that you love so that you don't feel ashamed marketing it, because you need to be proud of the stuff you're creating. So yeah. Okay, 2 left. Number 9, I learned to celebrate small wins. Because we see small as like a bad word. No, every win is a win. A win is a win, okay? A win is a win. Doesn't matter if it's a big win or a little win, because a win is a win. And I have learned that, being an independent artist and releasing my debut album, it can be very overwhelming. And not that I had, like, crazy expectations. We're doing next week's podcast episode on how to set healthy expectations, which was the very first Live, Laugh, Lily Kincade podcast episode I did, but we're going to do a little revisit and kind of incorporate some new things into that, because that was a really popular one and people ask me every single day tips for that. So stay tuned, make sure to subscribe, follow. But anyways, every single stream, every single time I would meet somebody and they would listen to my album, every single text I would get, like, I learned to really celebrate it. Like, you know what? You have to celebrate it. You have to make things a big deal because they are a big deal. And it's like I'm always reminded of this, and also too in the Artist Way it talks about this. Our artist is our inner child, and think of yourself as a little kid. It's almost like giving yourself a gold star. Like, I love celebrating. Like, whenever I would release a song, I would get like a cake and I would get a little candle, because you have to celebrate, and no one's going to celebrate it for you. You have to take action. If you want to have a party, if you want to do things with your friends, take action and do that, because it's worth celebrating. And I don't know, it just taught me that it can be easy in the big scheme of things to not see all of the work you've put in. But I just want to remind you that when you are doing a big creative project or a big challenge, celebrate yourself, because it is hard work. And yeah, celebrate every win, because a win is a win, no matter the size. And last but not least, number 10, you never really arrive. You always just kind of evolve in your music, if that makes sense. In a sense of like, I don't know, part of me, I never thought like this, but I would be like, it's never like, oh my gosh, I released the album, I feel so good, now I can relax for a couple months. It's more of like, I released that story, and now I'm like having this new story to write. Like, I was really scared for a long time, and part of me maybe still is that, oh my gosh, I've poured everything I have into cinematic. Like, I don't know if I have anything else to say. Like, now I feel kind of empty, which is true. Like, I kind of feel like empty creatively, which is why I'm doing the Artist Way and, started writing again and having a bunch of writing sessions, and I'm spending time with friends and reading new books to refill that creative well and to re-get inspiration. But it won't be like that forever. So you're never going to feel like, okay, now I'm done. I can like move on to this other thing. You're always going to feel like this desire to create more. And I think that's okay. So let it still inspire you. You're going to have people asking probably right after you release, when's the next one? And just say, we'll see when we see. That's what I keep saying. Like, I am working on a cinematic deluxe and album 2, but you know what? I have no idea what the theme is for album 2, but that's part of the beauty in it. I believe, or at least not I believe, but every one of my projects, I want to have its own world. So it has a sonic theme, it has a visual theme, it has a lyric theme, because it's like a little story in my life, and I want it to be like a little movie almost you can go back and watch. And so for album 2, I don't know yet. I always say, like, you can't choose it. It finds you. It naturally finds you in your songwriting. So I'm really excited to, see that whatever unfolds for my next album. But so far, those are the 10 things that I learned releasing my debut album, Cinematic, which you should go stream. It's 14 tracks. Listen top to bottom if it's your first listen, and then you should DM me on Instagram or comment. You can comment here if you don't have Instagram, but I want to know your favorite song and why, because every single person has a different favorite song, and it means a lot to me, because I poured all of my heart into these songs for years, and I'm just so happy it's out. And yeah, I don't know, I just learned a lot. I basically, to sum it all up, I learned that, you know what, you have to just go for it. You give yourself permission, have faith in what you do, believe in yourself so much, and you will naturally find the right people who also believe in you. It may not be everybody. You're gonna have to get a couple no's before you get those yeses, but those no's will only make the yeses stronger and better. And keep going and have that faith for that vision, and eventually it will happen. Eventually you will make your dreams come true, and it will all be worth it. It will be even better than you initially expected it to be, which is like a bonus. So keep going no matter what. And yeah, those are the things I learned. Okay, we finish every single podcast episode with this affirmation. If you don't know, my second grade teacher, Mrs. Goncher, who was like my favorite teacher ever, taught me how to play chess, like just inspired me in my poetry and my music and my writing, best teacher ever. She would always have us say this affirmation every day, and she passed it on to me to say to you guys, which I say all the time. Ready? Today is a wonderful day. I am confident because I am a problem solver. I always have options because I choose to be optimistic. Today I will learn something new, laugh, and make a difference in someone else's life. Let's say it one more time. Today is a wonderful day. I am confident because I am a problem solver. I always have options because I choose to be optimistic. Today I will learn something new, laugh, and make a difference in someone else's life. I love that so much. Don't forget to give this podcast 5 stars if you're on Spotify, and also subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Comment something interesting below. I'm just so happy you're here. And yeah, don't forget to stream Cinematic. I'm so excited. Yeah, welcome back to Live, Laugh, Lily Kincade Season 3. Love y'all, and I will see you in next week's episode.